Hi everyone, welcome to the next stage of the Action for Impact programme. My name is Vicky Brown. I'm a lecturer in creativity and entrepreneurship at Newcastle University Business School, and today I want to take you through a session we entitled Research Canvas. This session is an opportunity to introduce you to some new tools potentially for the purposes of mapping, of planning, and importantly being able to communicate your research and of course your impact ideas. So very simple overview of the session. I'm going to spend the introduction to just try and build the context from the sessions that you've been through with the wonderful Dr. Simon Brown. We'll also think about the what and the why in your research, and also what or why you would use a canvas for. I'm going to encourage the use of a particular type of canvas, so I'll take you through that exercise step by step, and I'm going to encourage you to complete your own canvas with the purposes of being able to layer your project and think about impact in different ways, and also importantly to communicate those ideas to interested people. So far you've been through quite a lot of different activities with Simon, including, and very importantly, I think, the verbal business card. So this is your really brief introduction of what you're doing, but importantly, the focus is around benefits. And it's this benefits problem focused perspective on your research that I'm going to continue to draw through this session around your researcher canvas. Effectuation, entrepreneurial mindset. There may be new terms that have been introduced to you through this training program so far, but it's about taking that next step. It's about taking action, about taking measured risks and being brave. Now, the tool that I want to share with you is designed to help you gain confidence and being able to conceptualize your new ideas and your existing ideas to see perhaps where there may be gaps. We've asked you to undertake a resource profiling exercise, and that's intended for you to get that baseline to see where am I now, but also as you bring that through into the Canvas activity, it should enable you to see what perhaps is missing or perhaps what you need to do next. Okay, so the idea is that we're pulling all of the learning from the session so far into this Canvas activity, and we're going to think about impact more broadly, from research impact to thinking about personal impact on your own development, but also other definitions of impact to include social, environmental, economic, not simply just commercialization of your research, okay? So this is my starting place today. I'm going to start with a nice little video, and this is designed just to help us think about how ideas come about. And I think this is particularly relevant when we're talking about impact and creativity and collaboration within the researcher space. So let's have a look at that first.
For the past 5 years, I've been investigating this question of where good ideas come from. It's the kind of problem I think all of us are intrinsically interested in. We want to be more creative. We want to come up with better ideas. We want our organizations to be more innovative. I've looked at this problem from an environmental perspective. What are the spaces that have historically led to unusual rates of creativity and innovation? And what I've found in all of these systems, there are these recurring patterns that you see again and again that are crucial to creating environments that are unusually innovative. One pattern I call the slow hunch, that breakthrough ideas almost never come in a moment of great insight, in a sudden stroke of inspiration. Most important ideas take a long time to evolve, and they spend a long time dormant in the background. It isn't until the idea has had 2 or 3 years, sometimes 10 or 20 years to mature, that it suddenly becomes accessible to you and useful to you in a certain way. And this is partially because good ideas normally come from the collision between smaller hunches so that they form something bigger than themselves. So you see a lot in the history of innovation, cases of someone who has half of an idea. There's a great story about the invention of the World Wide Web in Tim Berners-Lee. This is a project that Berners-Lee worked on for 10 years. But when he started, he didn't have a full vision for this new medium he was going to invent. He started working on one project as a side project to help him organize his own data. He scrapped that after a couple years, and he started working on another thing. And only after about 10 years did the full vision of the World Wide Web come into being. That is, more often than not, how ideas happen. They need time to incubate, and they spend a lot of time in this partial hunch form. The other thing that's important when you think about ideas this way is that when ideas take form in this hunch state, they need to collide with other hunches. Oftentimes, the thing that turns a hunch into a real breakthrough is another hunch that's lurking in somebody else's mind. And you have to figure out a way to create systems that allow those hunches to come together and turn into something bigger than the sum of their parts. That's why, for instance, the coffee house in the Age of the Enlightenment, or the Parisian salons of modernism, were such engines of creativity, because they created a space where ideas could mingle and swap and create new forms. When you look at the problem of innovation from this perspective, it sheds a lot of important light on the debate we've been having recently about what the internet is doing to our brains. Are we getting overwhelmed with an always connected, multitasking lifestyle? And is that going to lead to less sophisticated thoughts as we move away from the slower, deeper, contemplative state of reading, for instance? Obviously, I'm a big fan of reading, but I think it's important to remember that the great driver of scientific innovation and technological innovation has been the historic increase in connectivity and our ability to reach out and exchange ideas with other people, and to borrow other people's hunches and combine them with our hunches and turn them into something new. That really has, I think, been, more than anything else, the primary engine of creativity and innovation over the last 600 or 700 years. And so yes, it's true we're more distracted. But what has happened that is really miraculous and marvelous over the last 15 years is that we have so many new ways to connect and so many new ways to reach out and find other people who have that missing piece that will complete the idea we're working on, or to stumble serendipitously across some amazing new piece of information that we can use to build and improve our own ideas. That's the real lesson of where good ideas come from, that chance favors the connected mind.
There you go. So I hope you enjoyed that. I just think the principles are really carry over into the academic context, whereby we are very, very busy people and often don't have those opportunities of those kind of creative collaborations that came out of the salons of modernity that was mentioned in that clip. We may have hunches, but those spaces to mingle and galvanize and collaborate are often few and far between. So this is one of the key elements of Action for Impact. This is one of the brilliant opportunities that engaging in this program will give you. And the tool that I want to go through with you today is designed to help you look to see what you do know, what you do have, and perhaps spot those gaps so that those conversations can really start to gain momentum and help you to articulate how things work together and perhaps get some really valuable feedback from other people on the course. Certainly, when it comes to articulating our new ideas, we have to convey relevant information depending on who we're talking to. So the canvas is very much used as a planning tool to help you kind of start from scratch one. There are some toolkits on the hyperlink in the slides there to the academic toolkit. This shows you how canvases are being used in different ways within the researcher context. And we're going to have a look at a couple now which fit in very much, I would say, with the way we tend to think about solving problems with research, or perhaps what's more familiar, before we go on to a slightly different way of looking at that. So whilst it's a planning tool, it's very visual, so it allows you to see how everything connects together and allows you to get that real kind of mapping, that purposeful planning across all of your ideas. And importantly, to be able to communicate those vital elements. So here's one example. Now, if we look at all of the elements here, literature, observation and arguments, research questions. If you're asked to identify what problem your research is solving, this is typically where a lot of our mindset will go to. We'll start thinking about the gaps in the literature, the differences in approaching, generating solutions to a particular problem, but it's very much situated within that kind of academic world, that scientific world, if you like. Another example within the academic toolkit is this research project canvas. Now, this takes us away from that idea of thinking about the problem or the gap that we are addressing in our research to think about real-world problems, about stakeholders, about all of the different people that might be involved or indeed affected or impacted by our research. So that's our introduction. I want you to stop right now and check out the hyperlink. So have a look at the academic toolkit. Have a look at some of the researcher canvases on there. And I want you to think about, are there any that stand out to you as being helpful in enabling you to think about impact and value in your project? It's easy.